Yeah, here we are. So I'm taking the questions. Let's start.
Yeah.
My English, it's okay, yeah? You
Your
understand
English,
me?
very good. Yes.
I make a lot of mistakes.
No. Your English is excellent. It's very
I think
good.
we have something. Ok.
Yeah.
Ok les gars, j'espère que vous allez bien. Bon, on se retrouve aujourd'hui avec Matt Gary. Hello Matt.
Hello.
How are you?
Outstanding.
No, I'm gonna explain just how we met, ok?
Yep.
Donc j'ai fait un petit réel sur lui il y a quelques semaines de ça par rapport à la team USA qui s'est fait un petit peu mis de côté. Il a répondu à ça et de ça je lui ai demandé si on pouvait faire une interview quand je venais à Sheffield. Donc là comme vous savez c'est un petit peu les vidéos de Sheffield. Je sais pas si ce sera dans une vidéo ou pas mais en tout cas on est là. On va lui poser quelques questions. Merci infiniment et surtout pour poser un petit peu le contexte, Matt Gary c'est quand même the king of game day. Like the coach who make the perfect game day. How do you explain the game day? Quickly, just quickly.
Game day coaching is just being with the athlete at the competition and putting them in the best position to succeed so that they can lift the most kilos that they possibly can.
Yeah.
And so while I may not write their training, I'm essentially a tool to help facilitate their best performance.
Ok,
Yeah.
right. Donc là, ce qu'on va faire, c'est que je vais poser quelques questions par rapport au coaching, etc., par rapport un petit peu à Sheffield, et après on sera bon. Donc voilà, n'hésitez pas à liker la vidéo, à partager, ça ferait super plaisir parce que vraiment, c'est beaucoup de taf et beaucoup de stress. Donc voilà. Ok, let's go for the questions. The first question is going to be about the introduction of the mindset and the strategy. So did you see difference between high-level mindset of athletes and the average mindset of athletes?
Yeah, I think mindset varies from athlete to athlete, usually based upon their experience and how long they've been competing.
Yeah.
So when you have a really high-level powerlifter or high-level athlete, oftentimes their mindset is, or their goals, I should say, first of all, are focused on possibly placing at a competition, winning at a competition, maybe even setting some records, you know? And so their mindset is kind of focused on those things, and their process, because they've been doing it longer, their experience is more refined, it's more habitual. If you take a newer athlete or an average level athlete, they haven't been doing it as long.
Yeah.
And so their focus is more about having fun, gaining experience, possibly hitting some personal bests, and maybe they're not focused on placing or possibly winning or even hitting records. And so they need to gain that experience to put themselves in the position to potentially do that at some point. So I think those are kind of the key differences, and it largely boils down to the person's experience.
That's right, because I saw with an athlete, a female athlete, a younger athlete in the bench, like the bench only, a competition of bench only, and she is just petrified by the competition. You know? So we need to, I see.
Competing is like a skill. And the more that you compete, the better competitor you become. And as you become a better competitor, your skill gets refined. And so you've established these habits, these routines, and this process. When you're new, like you said, you're nervous and you're just kind of feeling things out. You don't know what to do. And so you kind of have to get your legs under you and gain that experience. And then your mindset and your process gets refined.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So second question, it's about, did you have specific tips or techniques to prepare to major competition? Because I saw in the podcast, I think it was King of the Lift.
Okay.
You said that, no, it's a Sabado podcast.
Sabado, yes.
Yes. You said you have a call with the athletes every week or every month. You have a really big relation with the athletes.
Yeah. So I think, first of all, the foundation of any healthy relationship is communication. And so you're fostering a personal relationship with these athletes that goes beyond the platforms, beyond the barbell and the numbers, and you really want to get to know the person. And the better that you get to know the person and the more seamless your communication is, the healthier your relationship is going to be. So that's kind of the main step, I think, is just being communicative with your athlete and developing that cohesion so there's not that friction. And then once you do that, one of the things that I try to encourage the athletes to do is focus on their process and their habits and their skill rather than the outcome. Because if you focus so much on, I have to hit this number, I have to go for this record, I have to come in third place, you lose sight of what's in front of you right? And you become so focused on the outcome that if the outcome doesn't come to fruition, you feel like it's a disaster. And so if you can just focus on the things that are right in front of you, on your process, on your routine, becoming as skilled as you become at those things, then oftentimes the outcome will take care of itself. Because in large part, a lot of the outcome is outside of your control. I can't control what my competitors are doing. We can only control what we can do. So by focusing on the things that are within our control, right, which is our attitude, our mindset, our execution, from a coach's point of view, the attempt selection, the numbers that I put in, we can control that. I can't control your feelings, social media, the venue, the time, the location. And so we tell people to not focus on those things, focus on what they can control, and then the outcome will take care of itself.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Another question, it's did you remember a moment that a risky attempt just paid off or failed during a competition? So
one of the main ones that I kind of recall is 2017 at the World Championships in Belarus. I was coaching a 93 kilo lifter, LS McLean. And we had there were 6 people that were kind of in the mix for the podium.
6 people.
6 people. And so at the subtotal, we were in second place. Second place in subtotal, but we didn't have the biggest deadlift. So, you know, I knew that we really had to be strategic with our deadlift attempts. And so after the opener in the deadlift, we dropped to 3rd. So we actually lost ground. After the second attempt, we dropped to 4th place because the other people were making some bigger jumps. And then it came down to the situation where I was assessing what the other lifters had left in the tank, how much energy they had left after their second attempts, and also doing some advanced scouting, kind of knowing their tendencies. I had to pull back and be a little bit more conservative, which was risky, right, on my lifter. And LS, he's a friend of mine, he was very upset. Like, he was very disappointed that we didn't put as much on the bar as he wanted. But I said to him, look, I said, you've currently now dropped into 4th place. So now the goal for me is to make sure that you get on the podium. I got to get you on the podium. And so I have to put something on the bar that I know you can make. And that's risky in terms of, I know we're not lifting to your full potential, but we have to make certain that we make this attempt. And so he was really disappointed, but I said, you've got to trust me. And so we called for his 3rd attempt, which actually I wrote down, it was 315 kilos. And he was capable of probably 10 more, but I said, we have to make this attempt. He made the attempt, some other lifters missed, and not only did we get on the podium, we wound up winning. And he came in 1st place. I mean, he beat Anatoly Novopasmani, was in the weight class at that time, right? He was a junior, and so by virtue of us making sure that we made 3 deadlifts, you know, you don't want to lose the competition. In other words, you don't want to put something on the bar that is so far of a reach or that is out of your wheelhouse that it's risky in terms of, you know, you might miss it, and then we're no better than 4th. So I have to put something on the bar that is a high probability of you making it, which again is risky from the perspective that in that particular instance, I may be holding him back a little bit. Does it make sense? But it turned out good because we wound up winning the competition.
Let's go. And you know that, remember me, the last world with Pana. Because Pana,
he missed his 3rd attempt. Right.
So the second was just to be second or 1st, but
he went for a 285 kilo deadlift on his 2nd, which just put him into 3rd place, I believe it was. And then he went up to 287.5 on the 3rd one and missed it. And so I think, you know, hindsight being 2020, you're kind of looking at it and you're saying, might he have made the 287.5 if he'd taken that on the 2nd attempt? Or you're confronted with, maybe his 2nd one could have been a little bit lighter so that he has more energy for the 3rd one. But I mean, I think the French coaching staff at that particular time was prioritizing him being qualified for World Games. So I think that was the goal. Was, you know, getting him, securing 3rd place, and then we'll see what we can do on the 3rd one.
I'm novice in the coaching, but that's I can see it's the Team France has sometimes first attempt very high.
Right.
And well, I don't know the athletes personnel, but yeah, that's a risky strategy, I think.
Yes.
Because the second attempt is just
right.
very, very close.
Right.
And so you can make a big total.
Right.
You know,
if you start out too heavy,
yeah,
you don't leave a lot of room to advance
yes,
because you're closer to your maximum. So then your progressions, your jumps have to be smaller.
Yeah.
Right? And so with every really heavy attempt you take, it's risky because you could miss it.
Yeah.
Whereas, taking an easy one, just kind of getting on the scoreboard, then taking a healthy jump, and then kind of taking a risky third one maybe.
Yeah.
So
the main people don't really understand with powerlifting. With high level of powerlifting, it's big strategy.
Right. Yes.
And this is so cool to watch a world game or a world IPF. It's just strategy because the level is so close.
Everybody is so close that it's not always the strongest person who wins. It's the best powerlifter. Because you might be stronger than me, but if you only make 6 attempts and I make 8 or 9, I have a bigger total. Like I score more kilos and I can win the meet, even though really you might be stronger than me.
And
so there's a lot of strategy.
It's why I love powerlifting. We talk about it, but collaboration between coach and athlete.
Yes.
How do you manage the preferences of the athletes? Because for you are a coach of a national team, so you have a work. You need to have maybe some podium.
Sure.
But the athlete won't be the first.
Yeah.
So how do you manage with the preferences? Sorry.
Yeah. So personal preferences. So you have to remember, I'm there to serve the athlete, right? The coach's primary goal or objective, at least in my opinion, is I need to put the athlete in the best position to succeed, right? Lifters make lifts, coaches need to be coaches, right? I can't go out on the platform and make a lift for the lifter. So it's my job to put them in the best position. So clearly, again, comes back to communication, finding out what their goals are. What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish? What is realistic to accomplish based upon your strength level? And then I need to try to put you in the best position to do that. I also need to lean on my experience and understanding that I've been doing this for a very long time. And so
how long do you
30 years.
30 years. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I've been to many world championships. And that's not to say that I know it all, because I don't know it all. And I'm still learning and trying to refine my process and become better as well. I think we can all learn, right? By the same token, I've been in a lot of these situations before, and sometimes you need to save the lifter from themselves. You know what I mean? It's almost like we have an expression that their eyes are bigger than their stomach. Right? You know what I mean? And so it's like you have to kind of save them sometimes from themselves. So I think it's about communication. It's about understanding what their preferences are, what their objectives are, me helping to refine those objectives based on the data, based on an understanding of their training, collaborating with their personal coaches, bringing their personal coach into the conversation, because I don't write the training, but I have to understand what's going on.
It was one of my questions. How do you manage the coach, the personal coach, and you? It's a big question.
It's a great question. It's about valuing the athlete, valuing the personal coach, and bringing them into the conversation. We also have another expression that you don't want too many cooks in the kitchen, right? There should be one cook. But the deal is that nobody knows more about the lifter's training than their coach that writes their programming. So if I bring their programming coach into the conversation and I say, look, this is a collaboration, this is a partnership, we're all working together so that your lifter can lift the most weight on the platform. We bring them in. I also use something with the national teams called an athlete monitoring system. So in the last 5 weeks leading into the competition, every single week they get an email from me and they have to submit their videos, right? That way, if I have 16 lifters on a national team, I'm not scouring through 16 different Instagram accounts looking for videos. This becomes a one-stop shop for them to put in their videos, and they have to answer a few questions. Obviously, the load on the bar, what was the RPE, what's your body weight, are you feeling any aches and pains that I need to be aware about? And then we have this data in the last 4 to 5 weeks leading into a competition. And then what we do is before the competition, about 1 week out, when all their heaviest training is pretty much done, all 3 of us, that's myself, the lifter, and the personal coach, we get on a video call. We look at the data, we look at their preparation, and we collaboratively install their game plan.
Yeah.
And then we have something, we have an outline that we can use on game day. And we're smart enough to understand that it's not so rigid or inflexible that we can't change it based on the situation, based on how the athlete's feeling, but we have a plan in place rather than we're just going to the competition and we're just gonna wing it and say, oh, we'll just go by how we feel. We have a plan in place. We have a strategy laid out. And also what that does is it reduces the anxiety of the lifter. By having that type of call and that collaboration, it'll reduce the anxiety of the lifter, and it makes them feel valued, also the personal coach, because they feel valued and talked to and collaborated with. And then we formulate a game plan, and it's great. And it usually works really, really well because we're all on the same page. We all want to get to the same place. But if you don't have a vision of how to get there, then you're just kind of wandering aimlessly.
Okay. And do you have a game plan, a game day difference for Sheffield? Because Sheffield is not about it's about the total, but it's very important to win it and to beat the world record.
Sure.
So it's a different game day? Plan?
Well, I think there's some similarities in that no matter what kind of competition you're at, the data objectively tell you that when you make more lifts, it's better.
Yes,
right.
You do in the story how many lifts.
That's right. How many lifts you make. So I mean, if you can make 9 attempts, that's better than 8. That's better than 7. And so the more attempts you make, you increase the probability of scoring more kilos and building a big total. Having said that, at this competition, it incentivizes with money, rewards, making world records and trying to hit world records. So I think the conversation comes down to, it's a unique conversation for every athlete, because using Penna, for example. Penna is probably not capable of hitting any individual lift world records, but maybe he can break the total. Right. So for him, he's got to build that biggest total so that hopefully he can break the world record. For somebody else that may not have a shot at breaking the total world record, but they're strong enough in an individual lift, then maybe that conversation is a little bit different, because they might want to be a little bit more aggressive and go for the world record. But still, at the end of the day, you still want to make as many lifts as you can. You know what I mean? You don't want to go out there and be so overly aggressive that you only make 4 or 5 attempts, because then you're not putting yourself in the best situation to score as many kilos and be there at the end.
And the thing's very hard with Sheffield, it's also a show.
Sure.
So the athletes want to make the show.
Of course,
Like, I know Pana gonna grind like 10 seconds on his bench, and he will,
and the crowd goes crazy. And that's, look, it's good for the sport. People want to see big lifts. People want to see big moments. They want to, you know what I mean? So it's awesome that you're at an event like this and you can showcase the best talent in the world, and hopefully you see a little bit of everything.
What's the lift you want to see? Like the most hype?
I think if there's one lift at this meet that I think everybody is expecting, will be Sonita's squat. I think that's the big one, right? I think because
700.
I mean, she's done it in training, right? So I think everybody is expecting her to hit, 318 kilos, 700 pounds for a female is just extraordinary. And she, last year at Sheffield, she did, 300.5 kilos, and then at Worlds went up to 311.
Amazing.
So now it's incredible. I mean, she's incredible.
I remember the third attempt. I was like, oh my God.
Unbelievable.
And she grinds a lot, I think, in the third. She grind very, very hard.
At Worlds.
At Worlds.
The 311. And then in training, she makes it look easier. So I think if there's one singular lift that everybody's looking forward to, I mean, at least for me, that's probably the one.
For me, I don't know what is the lift. Well, Jesus, I want to see him squat.
Of course.
Another mountain.
We'll see.
I don't know. We were going to see on Sunday. Now about powerlifting and his future. What do you see powerlifting in 5 or 10 years? Because this year gonna have a big change with the World Games.
Right.
The first time.
Yes.
So how do you see the future of powerlifting?
Well, that's a really good question. It's hard to predict because I think a lot of it is going to depend upon the outcome of World Games.
Yeah.
Being that this is the first year that classic raw lifting is accepted in the World Games.
Yeah.
Up until now, and the World Games have been going for a really long time, it's all been equipped.
Okay.
And so you have a certain segment of the population, the people who watch the World Games and pay attention to those sports, may not have been exposed to the classic lifting. Whereas, of course, you and I, fans of the sport, we know. So hopefully that will help the sport grow. So it's hard to answer where we might be, but I think this year is just a pivotal, instrumental year. The other thing is that Sheffield is only getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's becoming more popular.
Yeah.
I think we've seen what it's done in the last 3 years. This is the third year.
Yeah.
You know, and in next year there's going to be 2 Sheffields.
Yes, 2 Sheffield.
One at the beginning of the year, one at the end.
Okay, yeah.
And
that's the
there's
point.
one more scheduled for this theater, right? And then they're going to potentially move to a bigger venue.
Yeah.
Because there's more people that want to spectate and so forth. So I think those 2 things are really key and instrumental in driving the sport forward. I think also, ultimately, I think the one key ingredient is getting some type of major corporate sponsor to take an interest in our sport.
Yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like a Nike or a Gatorade or this big company, you know what I mean? These $100 million companies to take an interest in an investment in our sport to kind of push us over the threshold, push us over the edge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, but I think we're just kind of scratching the surface, hopefully, you know, and hopefully it'll get bigger and better.
I hope.
We're certainly seeing the performances rise. I mean, you know, and we're seeing what is possible.
Yes.
Like with Agatha, you know, treating herself like a professional athlete and pouring in all this time and effort. And so I think now we're starting to see it's no longer a hobbyist sport. It's for people that are taking this really seriously and pushing it to that next level.
Yeah, I think in the next year we are going to see some lifts like incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gonna be great. And with the new generation, like Joe Boristein.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
the juniors are the future, and what you also have to remember, in just about anything in society, women move the needle.
Yeah.
Like they, you know what I mean? And so women drive the market and the marketplace, and now that they've become so much more popular, so much more avid in the sport of powerlifting, it's a huge win.
In France,
it's big.
How many women now she doing the sport? It's amazing.
It's incredible.
In the competition, there is a lot of.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Oftentimes now in the United States too, there's just as many women as men. The battles are just as heated, just as contested. The athletes are phenomenal, so it's good.
And so the next question is, do you see differences between powerlifting in America and Europe? Because now you are like in the 2.
Yeah, and because I was coaching in America, now I'm coaching. So one of the things that I see, a lot of lifters from the European countries, because the countries are smaller countries and they're connected and they're so close together, just from a geographical perspective, it seems like a lot of the European lifters have more opportunities to compete internationally, right? Just because the countries are closer together. So I'm finding there's more European lifters that already have more international experience than maybe some of the Americans who are up and coming, because the United States is so big. I mean, it's almost like the United States is a gigantic country of smaller countries, our states, but still we're only just one nation. There aren't nearly as many opportunities to travel to different places, you know what I mean? Unless they come to a world championships or regionals or something like that. So I find that the Europeans, on balance, on average, have more opportunities to compete and so forth. The other difference is kind of what you mentioned also, is that I think typically the European countries, as you said, strategy-wise, tend to open a little heavier and take smaller jumps. And so, which, you know, you don't see that quite as much on the American side. You know what I mean? And so it's not necessarily that one is right and one is wrong. It's just oftentimes it comes down to a difference in preference and what you find works. And look, if you have a recipe that works for you, then keep using that recipe, rinse and repeat it.
Totally.
Yep.
Okay. One last question, and after I'm going to have some quick question,
Yep.
quick answer. Okay.
Yep.
Quick answer.
Yep.
So the last question, it's a little bit for me. What is for you the 3 most important qualities to become a successful coach?
I think the very first thing is you have to do some self-assessment and reflection and know yourself.
Yeah.
What are your values? What are your principles? What are the things that are important to you?
Okay.
And so when you can establish those, your foundational values and your core values, you know who you are as a person, and then you know the type of people that you might be able to work with. Mm-hmm. So I think that's first and foremost. I think the second thing is being an effective communicator.
Yeah.
Because this is relational.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
You're building relationships with people. And so you need to meet a person where they are. You need to be able to communicate on their level. You need to be a good support system. You need to ultimately try to be a friend, to be a confidant, to be a motivator, an encourager, all of these things. So communication. And then the third thing, and communication, that's more of the soft skills of coaching, right? But then the third thing, obviously, is the tactical skills.
Yeah.
Is the game day coaching acumen, the programming acumen, and you really only gain that by doing and gaining experience. And it's just practicing and refining. So I think those are the 3 things. And ultimately, what I said at the beginning is I think, people are going to be more impressed with the depth of your conviction of who you are as a person than the height of your intellect.
Yes.
So oftentimes, you may not be the smartest person in the room, but if you're passionate and you're an effective communicator and you show that you care and then you brush up on those skills, that can really be a great formula to become a winning coach.
That's I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So, Okay, thank you. Last things, it's like a quick question and quick answer, okay? So squat, bench or deadlifts?
For me?
Yeah, for you.
Deadlift.
Deadlift, okay. Coaching or competing?
Coaching.
Coaching.
Yes.
Your favorite powerlifting competition of all time?
Wow, that's a good one because you really put me on my favorite competition that I've attended, I guess, or competed in, or coached in, or
coach. I think all. That's the best. Remember the best memories.
Man, you really.
Oh, sorry for this
question. No. It's a great question. It's a great question. And it's really hard to think. I mean, if there's any one singular moment, because there's been so many.
Yeah.
It would have to be a World Championships. I think, the very first World Championships that I ever went to, that I was ever a part of.
As a coach?
Yeah, I was a personal coach, not a team coach.
Okay.
For Susie, my wife.
Yeah.
We were just friends and kind of dating at the moment. She won a World Championships. And so I kind of joke and say, hey, you won because of me. When it really had very little to do with me. But I mean, that's a very fond memory. That was all the way back in 2003 in Chicago when she won her first Equipped Worlds.
So cool.
I mean, that's really special just because it was the first. Cool. But obviously there's been so many others. I mean, when Ray Williams squatted 1,000 pounds the first time, there's so many more, special moments.
It's a good memories.
It's a happy memory.
Yeah. Okay. Coffee or tea before meet?
Coffee.
Coffee. Okay. The one song that always hype you up.
The one song that hypes me up.
So if you have one song to put to be hype, which one?
Man, I used to DJ.
Yeah?
Yeah, so my tastes in music are very eclectic. I listen to a very wide variety. Why don't I say Atomic Dog by George Clinton?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funky.
I don't. Okay.
Yeah, it's funky.
I'm gonna. Okay.
Yeah, Atomic Dog by George Clinton.
Great. Morning or evening training?
Morning or evening training?
Evening for me. For me, evening. Every day.
For you, it's evening.
Yeah.
For me, it's usually in the middle of the day.
Yeah?
Yeah, like early afternoon if I have, Because I have a few meals in me and I feel more energetic.
Okay. But
versus if I wake up just early in the morning, I feel stiff and I'm not moving well. And then if it's at the end of the day, I might feel too worn out or stressed. Yeah.
So between.
Yeah, in between probably. Okay. Sorry to not answer that one.
No. I have an athlete that's training like in 5 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Literally. So I wake up and
He's already training.
Yeah. Okay. One rule in powerlifting you will change.
One
it
rule.
was a big question, but I just put
Yeah,
here in the...
yeah, there's a few things that I would change.
Yeah, but just one thing. If you can change with the power, magic power, what will be?
There's one thing that I could change.
Yeah.
So this is probably not on anybody's radar.
Okay.
If there's one thing that I could change, I would put a person in the room with weigh-ins so that when people submit their openers at weigh-ins, that information is immediately accessible.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Rather than having to wait until the weigh-ins close.
Okay.
There's no strategic advantage for your opposition knowing your opener. It's okay.
Yeah.
They're going to know your openers anyway. But here's where it helps. It helps just logistically. The coaches and the lifters get prepared for the competition because they're going to know where they are in the flight.
Yes.
Right? Because if weigh-ins close 30 minutes before and you have no idea where you are in the flight, unless you're the strongest squatter in the room, obviously.
Yeah.
But it helps the coaches, it helps the lifters.
Okay.
And it's really not that complicated. You just have somebody in the weigh-in room with a laptop typing in the information.
Of course.
And the second you get off the scale and we put in your openers, it's readily available. And then the information is already in the system and it makes it so simple.
Okay.
So simple.
Great.
Yeah.
Best advice you have ever received. So you have received an advice, the best. By something, someone.
Wow, like you mean in terms of powerlifting advice?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think kind of what I said was to know yourself.
Okay.
Is to know who you are.
Okay.
And be strong about your convictions and your morals, because you really learn the most about somebody in times of difficult situations. You learn about their character. And so it's times when you do the right thing, but it's hard to do the right thing, that I think you learn the most about yourself. And because this is such a sport where it's about relationships and it's about people, I think it's exactly. I think it's really, really important that you know yourself first and foremost.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And that's some of the best advice that I was ever given.
Okay, nice. Favorite cheat meal after a competition?
Nutella.
Okay.
Nutella, yeah.
Nutella. Okay,
I could eat the whole jar.
Okay. Like my mom.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
It's great.
Great. One word to describe your coaching style.
Intentional.
Okay, great.
Everything is on purpose. You do things for a reason.
Yeah.
Not on a whim, not by chance. They're on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we have finished.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Yes.
I have just one thing for you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's like a gift.
Oh, wonderful. Man.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's like my T-shirt of my team.
Yes.
So an athlete.
It's beautiful.
I think the size is good.
Yeah.
So you can
Thank
check.
you so much.
And
thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you too.
Thank you. That's great.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
That was my little
so your logo.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you very much, because it's a big opportunity. Sorry for the little,
No apology necessary.
Yeah, but
you honor
for
me.
It's important.
I know, but you honor me by letting me be a part of this.
Yeah.
We all in the community hopefully lift each other up and make each other better. And you've been professional since the moment you reached out to me, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks a
no,
lot.
for real.
And I hope you enjoyed this interview.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome.
And good luck for
Thank you so much. Yeah. So when you put this out, you're going to put it out on your channel.
Yeah.
You'll translate it to French.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Course,
yeah. Look, tag me, and then I can share it and promote it as well. Yeah, it's fine.
Thanks a lot.
It's all good.